You hear all these diddlings and buzzes, so apparently that means we're live. What's going on, guys? Damnation-n-Hellfire here with another episode of Battle Pirates Crow's Nest. This one's called Am I Legendary Yet? Tonight we got with us Doomsday Rebel.
What's good, everyone?
Of course, we got Ross Crow.
Good evening, everyone.
And we salvaged RB from the depths of Down Under.
Howdy, everyone.
So, how's everybody's Battle Pirates going right now? Are you doing anything?
Yes.
I'm pretty target.
What are you doing right now?
Well, I've just finished the FM, but it was one hell of an effort.
Oh, you mean the mini raid that they sort
Yes.
of got isn't a mini raid, even though we have to do 28 targets.
That's the one.
Gotcha. Ross, what are you doing in game right now?
Nothing. No, nada. Just there's not a whole lot there for me to do. I mean, so
Dooms?
I've just been hitting player bases because I had so much target fatigue after the Krampus event because I only could hit basically 100s or the 70s with Skyfires, but I didn't have the there's no need for me to hit a 102 and get more damage, and I didn't have a fleet to hit a 90, so I just I think I hit like 50 some of them 100s. It sucked. It was a grind, pain in the ass, but yeah, I just got target fatigue, so I just went out and started hitting bases.
Right on. Yeah, speaking of the Krampus event, how'd everybody do in it? I know I only ended up getting like 110,000 points or whatever. I got the flagship, I got the new armor, and I think I got like all the shielded circuitries that were available, and another Matrix tack mod, and I think that was all I ended up getting. RB, you got a decent amount of points, didn't you?
Yeah, I did all right. I think it was like 550 or something in the end.
How about you, Ross?
I picked up like 330, I think 350. I picked up more than I needed, but in the end, there was a alliance member that could use some help and kind of rallied and was able to prep some for that player. So that increased my score greater than I was planned.
Right on. Yeah, and I saw all the leaderboard prizes started hitting today. So, I know I got my titanium and my strike skin and my strike VXP tokens for the hull I don't even have yet. And I got also got my holiday eradicator skin, which later on in the show we have a picture of what they look like on the water. Be prepared to turn your head and vomit when you see them. But anyway. But yeah, I know all those prizes started hitting today, so that was kind of cool. That was actually a day earlier than what they said they were going to hit.
Yeah, I guess it was because it's Friday for me, but it's not Friday for you.
Yeah, unless they're switching everything to Australia time.
Could
And then when they say
be
Friday,
okay.
Friday for you.
Could be okay.
I'm sure that wouldn't hurt your feelings, right?
Yep.
All right, slide-wise, let's see. We don't have many slides because there's really not a whole lot going on in the game this week, but we'll cover what we can. Of course, you got your bonus FM week this week, since the raid got pushed back. And obviously, it started Wednesday at 9 a.m. and it'll go till Wednesday at 9 a.m. And you'll be able to get the corrososcope and the concussive force, which we'll talk about later. And we have the bonus mini VXP weekend coming up. So, normal 36 hours dealio that you go out and hit the new targets. And hopefully, people will be able to get a lot better indication of how well their ships are going to do, since you probably have them well more built than what we did last time we saw these targets. So, it'd be great if they did some kind of thing where the buildings that we killed gave VXP, but I'm not holding my breath about it.
Can we just stop there for a second?
Oh, absolutely, man.
So are they different targets?
Yeah.
Were they unidentified raider siege targets last time?
I don't. What were the levels last time?
Well, didn't we have the 57 and the 88 siege target?
Well, I still see the 88 siege target there.
Yeah, but it says unidentified raider siege targets are spawning with level 50 targets available through the activity.
No. What they're saying is the regular Earths are spawning along with the level 50 and the level 88 that we had from last time.
Yeah,
So does that mean it's only that base Earth one?
No.
Well, an Earth is an Earth. It's not
Oh well,
on.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, you might be right. Maybe. Yeah, maybe they aren't having the fleets. Maybe they're just having the siege targets.
Because an Earth was an unidentified raider fleet.
Right.
Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
don't know. And yeah, Dynamite brought up a good point in chat too. It says here that the FMs last until Wednesday, January 9th at 9 a.m. PST, but doesn't it usually end like Tuesday night?
yeah. But then we get shorted today, so maybe they're trying to make that up. Hopefully.
I thought it always started on Wednesday though.
Oh, it does. But the last one, if I ain't mistaken, I think we did get shorted one day on it, or maybe it was a couple ago. I can't remember.
I don't know. We're just going by what they posted off on the forum, so maybe it's going to last an extra 12 hours or whatever. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You get bonus on top of bonus. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. But
Yeah.
be prepared that it might end on Tuesday night anyway. That's all I'm going to say. Here's the two new prizes in the FM, the Concussive Force and the Corrosive Scope. Ross, you want to cover both of those?
Sure can. The concussive force is the draconian tech we were looking for, and that's going to decrease your concussive range while increasing your concussive damage. And this one's going to increase the damage by 15% by using this special. It's a good special. And then we have also the corrosive scope, and that's a draconian tech, and that one's for Conqueror and Defender, and this one does the corrosive range, corrosive damage is taken away by you have increased range. So the force is reduced range, the scope is increased range, basically. And we've been missing these specials for quite some time. You know, in all honesty, I think they're 4 months, 5 months late. But so they're out now. They're good to have.
Well, and like silly me, I would have thought like instead of having corrosive scope and concussive force, they would have had like corrosive scope and corrosive force, and then next time did concussive scope and concussive force.
Right.
I guess I'm just silly expecting the same similar things to come out at the same time. The silly me.
Or maybe all of them being that OG tier 7.
Well, no, I'm glad they didn't come out with all of them because it's bad enough having to do 28 FM targets this week to get everything. That putting both of them in there just would have added another 8 targets that you would have had to do. So you would have had to do 36 targets to get everything.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to say, but who knows that they're not going to add it next FM.
Oh, right. I would think it would be.
I would think next FM is where we'll see those things that got leaked. You know, the lowered explosive mount to the nuclear accelerator 3 and the CL4 would be probably where what'll be in the FM after the raid is my guess, but who knows?
I mean, it should be, but who knows what they're going to do these days? I mean,
I think that's the thing. That you summed it up there really well. Who knows what they're going to do these days? We got 2 TLCs going on. We got the Under Siege campaign. You want to go over this, RB?
Sure, not a problem at all. So Under Siege, we've seen this before, but the timing's pretty good because you may need some of these tokens to, have something to be able to actually do the raid with or refit. So begins Wednesday. Well, it's already begun, but we know that. So it finishes on the 9th at 1 o'clock PST. So it's fresh new check, but this is the same blurb they use each time. Prize Pack 1, you get the Buccaneer blueprint and some VXP tokens. Prize Pack 2, you get the Peak Acceleration Cannon. So there's, what have we got now? 3 of those acceleration cannons. Anyway,
Yeah, I think
so. Prize Pack 3 is when we start getting into the build tokens, so you get some more VXP. I haven't looked to see about the tokens, how many we can hold, so you may potentially be chucking some in the sea, but it's worth it for the tokens. You get that mass augmentation nexus, which was critical hits, if I remember correctly. Something like that.
Yeah, I do believe so.
Sorry, I haven't gone back and looked because it's an old prize. And then the mastery you can do 3 times, so you get your VXP tokens again and Buccaneer tokens times 2.
So basically, the short of the story is you get 7 days worth of Buck build tokens, because that's all 90% of the people who are doing this TLC are probably going to care about.
Mm-hmm. And if you've got your free bat rays, use those.
Hey, you stole my thunder. I was just getting ready to say that.
Sorry, mate.
That's okay. But yeah, I mean, if you got those bat rays, this TLC is actually like stupid easy to do. You can just auto the whole thing. So then we also had the Allied Boom campaign. You want to cover this one, Travis?
Yeah, this is where you can get the flagship. This one also ends Wednesday, January the 9th. But you can get shards, and you have to. This one is kind of like tier lock for each prize pack. I know there's a skirmish tier. I believe that's prize pack 2. Do you all remember what prize pack 1 and 3 were? One's assault, one's skirmish.
You got assault, skirmish, and then siege.
Yeah.
So you need at least a tier 6 or tier 7 fleet of each silo to be able to complete that. But if you can, you get enough shards to unlock the Buccaneer Boon, and you're going to get your build tokens and VXP tokens, and it'll. Personally, I've never got to use this ship yet or the Buck, so I think both of them have a low amount of tokens, but I think if they run them, a couple more times, this is the second time for the Allied Boon, so that'll help out. But it'd be a fun fleet to play with on the lower targets coming up, I'm thinking. So.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem, and you hit the nail on the head, is the amount of tokens that both of these campaigns are paying out. Like for the regular Buck, you get 7 days worth of tokens. That's not nowhere near enough to build one full boat.
Yeah, because I got on Hydra's Hollow, I got 17 tokens, and I was able to build one really good ship.
Yeah. Well, and that's something else I was going to bring up. I really would have liked to have seen them redo Hydra's Hollow again, because that token, the tokens in there compared along with the tokens that we just got the last time they ran it, you could actually have like the beginnings of a decent fleet there, because you got tokens for the Hydra flagship as well. So that would actually give you enough tokens to have 2 fully done Hydras and a fully done flagship too, for somebody who just got the stuff, say, during the last raid or whatever.
Yeah, I was hoping they were going to do that, just because I could use another one for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. So those are the 2 TLCs we got going on right now. Bug fixes. Certain bases were unattackable when the attacker was under damage protection. Apparently they fixed that. And then they just, of course, did their general bug fixes and performance improvements, which we'll never know what they are. So we can talk about the things that they were saying that they know are ongoing issues in the game. You want to cover this, RB? It's
Sure.
tiny. I can't see it.
Yeah. So this is so basically when they were coming back from the holidays and New Year's and all that sort of stuff. So so ongoing performance issues and activities, especially during combat. There's not a smoking gun on the tech side where these increased issues are coming from, so it's an ongoing investigation. The one that we talked about, which was the so this was last week, feedback regarding older hulls becoming OP when paired with newer content. Designers discussing how to move forward on that. So that's
let's talk about that a little bit. How are they?
Sure.
How do you think the best way for them to move forward on that is? Anybody can feel free to speak up.
well, to me, it's just that it goes on tier 8.
You mean the armor can only go on tier 8 stuff? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, because having said that, because I thought about this the other day, that there was that post, the bit in Wrong Thinker's post where he was saying about older hulls becoming more viable, and maybe it's that we only thought of tier 7 as being older, where maybe this was the intention all along.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're kind of OP. Maybe they need to be dialed back a little bit, but in a way, it's kind of cool to have older hulls be able to last longer. Because if you think about other war games, like you have different classes and lower grade ships, but they weren't obsolete like how Battlefire is. Like, kind of, historically, once you stepped up a tier, the next the previous set was not as good, and by the next step of it was obsolete completely. So maybe just it adds more complex playability to it, but it does need to be maybe tweaked a little bit, because there's no reason that hull should like murder a tier 8 hull that quick. If it can kill it, it should be more of a strategically done battle. I'm talking like having to pinch it and everything, you know what I'm saying? It's just like they're just straight up ripping them apart. So that's where the problem lies. So maybe there just needs to be a damage modifier, or some kind of modifier that takes away some of that health on that tier.
How about
I know. Go on, Ross.
how about we have don't go from 1,200 to 750,000 armor points in a jump?
That was exactly what I was going to say.
Here's a basic one for you, math. You really just so you're going to refactor again. To refactor, that's what you did. You just step. The last tier has 1,200 armor points. This has 750,000. Here's your problem. Didn't take rocket science there.
Well, but then you're left with the other half of that equation, though, is that you're having to give up some a decent amount of deflection to put these armors on, and there has to be something there to compensate somewhat for the deflections that you're giving up.
Because that ratio is a fine line between very good or not being so great if you build it wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's a junk armor. No one used the armor in the past that anti-stun. No one used it. The only thing that it's good for is the 750,000 armor points. We've had this armor in the past, and no one put it on anything in the game.
Well, they didn't have nothing worth putting it on. It's worth putting on.
They didn't have anything worth putting it on.
Yeah, I got a build for my breacher. It's definitely going on, because like I can lose a special and then gain another, or you can stack them and then you get your armor points. So you're trading off your deflection for that, but I won't have to have like a hyper 30 on that one, or a tac module or anything, because some of these tac bases that have tac mods, man, they'll shut a fucking dread down like it won't even go. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. I guess what you're saying is, but the whole RST or DT. I'm sorry. I'm just not familiar with it. I don't have the game open in front of me. But we've had it in the past, and no one used it at all.
Yeah.
And we clearly didn't use it.
Actually, I will say that in the past I did use that armor on the not the slow effect one, but the stun effect one. I used that actually a lot on my guard fleet.
Yeah.
Well,
I did have that on my.
The pinches last, when people used to pinch guards a lot back in the day, it would make that pinch not last near as long.
Mm. And I know the other part of this problem too is that, people were deleting turrets and, other parts of their base to get the bubble pad part of it. And that's part of the reason why, this works. But I mean, if you shroud something or give something a massive boost and you up the armor so much, it's like, well, of course it's going to have an effect. So yeah, I think I think they were kind of on the right form of making these old ships better again. I just don't know if this is fully fleshed out.
Well, I just wonder if this isn't the same thing that we see all the time, that like something new comes out and it's way OP and we don't see the combat for it until like a month later. It's just when this one really happens to have people short hairs all in a tizzy because it's actually affected real older tech.
Yeah, because when the tier 8 defender comes out, it's going to shut it down somewhat. So
yeah.
And I'll be quite honest, that there is a part of me that this does my heart good to see like little people level 80s now can like take their rages out if they happen to get that armor and throw it on their rages, and they can go out and totally smoke like level 135 base guards and shit. There's a small part of me that does my heart good to be able to see that happen. Those people who get farmed by those people all the time can now actually do a little bit of fighting back.
Yeah.
But like with the bubble pad thing, I think it'd be really cool if we had a drag and drop feature where you could highlight like a drag and draw box around like all your turret or part of your turrets and your say portals and a couple buildings, and then it'll give you a percentage. Like, all right, you've selected 24 buildings and this is blah 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 percent of your base. So you can build a bubble pad easy just by selecting enough parts to be like, oh, okay, that's 25%. I'll move down here.
Definitely. Yeah.
You're moving ahead in the list, Travis. Shame on you.
Well,
but I don't know. Like I'm way different on the bubble pad. I think people have gotten really spoiled by all these bubble pad calculators that have been out there. I remember back in I know I say this a lot, but back in the day, when we didn't have any kind of bubble pad calculators at all, you literally had to figure it out. And like each time you get hit, you would get closer and closer and closer until you would finally figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying these tools
I'm
just saying people have gotten spoiled by those tools, in my opinion.
And it was fun testing them too. Like you have somebody come up and hit you, like especially before they shut off alliance members being able to hit each other. We used to like test like certain aspects, and we'd shove those certain buildings and a couple turrets up there, and say 3 turrets and a couple warehouses.
Yep.
And that was it. And so it just took a little bit of testing. So.
Yeah, 100% Doom there for the win, because that was exactly what happened, and that was the way you worked it out. So. There wasn't a calculator, so you got your ally or a friend to come and hit you, and then you would go back and readjust. So yeah.
I mean, over the years as we played this game, all the math stuff has become much more apparent over time. But like way back, and when the game first started, we didn't know a lot of this math stuff, and it really was truly a strategy game then, because you would have to do real-time stuff to try to figure out, okay, this needs to go here and this needs to go over here and I need to move this over to here, But as the game has progressed and we know more and more and more math behind it, it's more become like a pencil and paper kind of game, in my opinion, than a strategy game.
Yep.
But just going back, I want to finish up on the armor on the old holes, though. I mean, it definitely if they allow it to progress in the way it is right now, currently, I think it is detrimental for the health of the game. But it is kind of fun to see it happening in the short term, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, as you said, hopefully, as Doom said, hopefully the new Defender will stop this anyway to some extent. So,
yeah. All right. Let's see. And then they had the thing about the Devastator can. Let's go back.
Yeah. So to combat those older hulls becoming OP, people worked out that the Devastator cannon has got some amazing damage stats on it, and you can put it in your base and use it as your base guard, and those cannons will absolutely smoke dreads. So, which is kind of interesting. It's we said it well. It's been said a lot. That the minds of the players can come up with solutions a lot quicker and easier sometimes than the people who create it. So whoever was the first one that discovered that, I say well done, kudos to you. So, I mean, the repair time is kind of astronomical, but I guess you're getting the half repair in your defense slot. So anyway, well done. So they're discussing how to move forward on that. Probably having some meetings about meetings, I'd suggest. So the next one's the feedback about the bubble padding and certain base designs. So we started talking about that prevent blitzing. In general, this likely won't be tackled until our bubble padding overhaul, which is, they certainly didn't say anything about this in that whole big post. Part of the defense rating system work. So more details to come from that, from design closer to the end of January, I suspect. The next one is the one that we were talking about in Bounty a lot, which was the ships moving closer than intended on auto, putting them in range of some powerful turrets. I know certainly in Bounty, I'd click to attack a turret and my ship would want to move there even though it was on the ground or on land. So
The next part of this is the one that really I found interesting, though.
Yes.
This appears to have been an issue for a while, but it is more of a problem when we're in siege cycle. A team has reproduced it and is working on a solution. Okay, well, if this has been an issue for a while, why are you just now starting to work on a solution?
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, okay, how many targets have I hit on auto? Because everybody knows I like to auto a lot of stuff. How many targets have I hit on auto where I was taking way more damage than I should have because of this bug that you've known about but haven't done anything about?
Yeah. And how many tickets did it take before it finally, someone decided to finally look at it? So,
and one of the main issues, I know it's, the pathing sucks, and it won't. The main thing is, all right, say if you manually target a ship that's already in range, but you're moving, and you switch to a different target, it should stop on a dime. That's what it used to do. It doesn't do that. It still goes to the point where you have clicked on the map. Same thing with a turret. If you've pre-clicked to a spot and then you click on that turret, a lot of times it'll just bypass it. It don't come to range and then immediately stop. That's the biggest problem with something in the code, is it once it comes into range, it should stop.
Well, it just seems like the constant problem we've had with every single team, that it seems like for every one thing they fix, they break three others.
Oh.
Hey, just speaking of that, because I've already done it and I won't be able to go back and do it.
This issue's been going on since Bounty 3. We used to, I complained about my ships not stopping when on auto at Bounty 3.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Have any of you guys still got the Boon campaign going?
Yeah.
Because it would be interesting to auto the siege target in that and see if Bucks and Hydras stop where they're supposed to. because then, that might indicate which targets are broken and which aren't, because if they stop in that siege one, do you know what I mean? Because it's like, they certainly, when we were in siege last time with Bucks and Hydras, they certainly stopped at the target. They would stop and fire, then go on to the next one. Stop and fire, go on to the next one. Stop and fire, go on to the next one. Now, so if you can do that again in this TLC, that means that those old siege targets are okay. So it may be that it's the bounty. I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say or not?
I just don't know how to separate the targets. I just know the issue's been going on since Bounty 3.
Yeah.
See, like when the game was early on, and before we had a lot of the commands and stuff that we have, the arrows and the stop and stuff, and a lot of players, when they first started out real early, they didn't even, know you could cycle through ships, or I don't even know when that came in, because I used to manually click and go each ship to go to a certain point. But even after I figured out, I could select them all. I used to do what we always called wall stops. Like, you could click on a wall even if it was destroyed, and it would come to that point and stop. I used that a lot. And even after the down arrow came into play, to be able to stop your fleets, I still just out of habit sometimes would wall click just to do the old school wall stop. And it's like, you do that now and you just keep going. It's like, oh yeah, you clicked that, cool. It's highlighted. Wow.
Well, and I know even like clicking on turrets seems to be much harder now than what it's been in the past.
Oh God. Imagine on my end, dude.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, playing on a phone, but I'm saying actually playing on, even playing on a good PC though, it seems to be much more difficult to select turrets and click on them than what it's ever been in the past.
Yeah.
That actually, having you say that, remember the co-op target that we were doing, that 95 one, and you had to kill the turrets on the Mega, and you'd click and you'd have it highlighted, and you'd think that you should be shooting there, and you're shooting everywhere but. So yeah, interesting. Sorry, that just came to mind then.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely seems to be a problem with targeting for sure. That's what that all comes down to.
Yeah, it's like a range indicator or something they got going on that it's not triggering, or it went missing or something.
Yeah, because I know for a while we were talking about like you had to be, normally with your range ring, you can, it's not a perfect circle and all that sort of thing, or whether the turret bases were a perfect circle and how that was interacting, and but it's a lot more than that, because you used to just be able to graze the edge of the turret and you'd start firing, whereas we've seen it, that you've had to go halfway through the turret to start firing and all that sort of thing. So there's definitely something.
That's true, because you could inch up right to the very edge, especially with missiles. I mean, that was how we used assault missiles to prep. You'd get right to that edge, and then it would start firing. Or if you done it on auto, it would take the very edge of the ring to the center point of the turret. But now it goes past that point too.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the last one there?
So it's higher damage in certain campaigns, but we're not going to tell you which certain campaigns, just certain campaigns. We've been shutting off the ones that seem to be invincible until a fix can be put in place, and we're investigating campaigns that appear to be doing greater damage than they were previously, i.e. Mega Mayhem. And I've certainly had that issue a few times. I don't auto, I drive Skyfires, and instant repair, and then you take a slightly different path, or you do something slightly different, and the only one that's left standing is the lead, and you've got 8 hours of 20 of repair for no particular reason. So.
Well, aren't the turrets doing some weird like AoE explosion thing when they die now?
That's part of it, yeah, definitely part of it, because using Skyfires, because you're using UAVs, you know, they're chaining to each and every turret, and if you're close to that boom, it's one hell of a boom. But I know a couple of times that it's happened to me, I've been too close to the mega, so it didn't have anything to do with the turrets. And certainly the last time that it happened to me, I was being targeted by the missiles on the mega, and that was all. So there was nothing else hitting me. And, you know, I don't shoot down every single one, but I get most of them. But then, yeah, I was just, you know, it just instantly wiped out four ships.
So they've added plasma damage to the death explosions, apparently.
Yes.
And I'm using the gifted fleet that they gave me with the gut spiel and then the four skies, and I've autoed it a few times, and luckily, knock on wood, I haven't saw anything like that. So it's odd. And see, when you said you got close to the mega once, I was thinking, well, maybe that scatter gun is just like.
No, because there's no firing. Yeah, there's no
back. I'm like, well, that's not it. So.
Yeah, there's no range ring that comes up or anything. And there's times that I've been in that range ring, and I know I'm in that range ring, and you know it's fine. So there's something going on, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, because you know when you get hit with it, because you get that green glow on you.
Yeah.
Or the.
Yeah, the orangey red one.
The damage over time thing, DOT.
But yeah, you'll be, you know, focusing on what's going on, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, there's only one UAV coming out at a time or something, and it's like, you know, I've just lost my whole fleet apart from the gut spill. So
I guess the next thing we got up was this is my Eradicator build I plan on using for the raid. I think this is what I've fully settled in on, and I figured we could talk about this for a little while and see what anybody else is going to do differently. But as you can see, I got all Devastator cannons on it. For my range extender and ballistic damage buff, I took the cannon system 5, and then of course for my turret defense and building and turret and wall damage output, I've chosen Siege Battery 4 along with Siege Targeting 4. Special wise, I went with Autoloader 3 because even at max rank, these cannons have terrible reload. So you definitely have to have something there for extra reload, in my opinion. Engine wise, I went with Strike System just because it gives you pretty high combat speed. Turned on, it's not bad. Plus, it gives you projectile speed, which is something else that these cannons are severely lacking, is projectile speed. In my last special slot, I went with the CL3 just for the defensive bonuses for the 2 damage types, so ballistic and radioactive. Once I have a complete fleet done, I might look at whether I can take this off or not and maybe replace the new special for the crit there. But until I have a full fleet, I think I'm safer keeping that special on there. And then for my armors, I went with 1 each of the limiteds from the FM and then 2 of the new ones that we just got in the Krampus event. So that gives me right now, without buffs from the other rest of my hulls, that gives me 95% on both defenses. So what do you guys think? Good, bad, different? What are you doing differently?
Looks good. I think the difference is on possibly where you went. I didn't go the siege targeting already. I went the special, the overload special. Let me load the game here. But I think I'm totally, and I think the armor, because I already had the, I have some that are fitted with, let's see, charged Zenthonite armor C1CR.
Mhm.
I do have 2 panels of that on my build. And then I ended up going with nuclear accelerators and welded barrel system. So
Yeah, that's what I did with the resistor, siege, battery 4, auto loader 3, and then I got one that's got 6 guns, 6 of the Devastators, but the rest of them are just going to have 4 because I'm assuming there's going to be something coming. So I'm just going to try that out for now in case there's escalation cannons. But I have one of the R, one of the C, and then one of the new that armor. I swear it looks like that game Metro 33 or whatever. That dude's face line.
I like the armor look.
Yeah, it's cool. But I did set up a build, which I know it probably wouldn't work, but it's has a lower cannon mount. And dude, the damage on that thing is like it doubles, and you can get the resistance up pretty high, but I almost thought about just doing one as just kind of as a maybe a tank, just to. I don't know if it'd be worth trying. I like trying stupid shit just because I get bored.
I just know that my one hull that I had that was mostly done for the BXP weekend, it was the same build only with 2 armors instead of 4 armors. And anytime it got within range of that short range cannon, oh my god, I got like destroyed. And that just lower cannon mounts makes me think that thing would just totally eat my ass up then if I was using that.
Yeah.
As that turret.
Yeah, I guess the other thing too is that we now know that those other new specials are going to be introduced, so that might affect what you're going to do as well. So that might make a
definitely
might make
be worth
a difference.
Waiting.
Yeah.
So RB, like, is your build similar or different, or what are you doing?
It's reasonably the same. I use the welded barrel system as well. So,
as opposed to what?
As opposed to the auto loader.
Gotcha.
I'm not convinced one way or the other, but it's because it's kind of hard because it was interesting because you were talking about a full fleet. I'm more interested in a sculled fleet.
Right.
So to me, that's going to be where the big difference is. So, but I sort of put that on thinking, well, I can at least be flexible. I'm going to keep pretty much everything else that's on there. I've got siege battery and siege targeting.
Yeah, for me anyway, in my mind, auto loader was the better option over the crit special because it took you from like a 1.2 second reload, I think, to it was either 0.7 or 0.5. I can't remember for sure which one it was anymore. But I'm like, well, shooting twice as fast all the time is better than getting double damage 10% of the time or 20% of the time or whatever it is.
Yeah, you're right. I think probably what I was thinking about was it was kind of kind of like a happy medium because you at least got some projectile speed and some combat speed rather than just relying on that critical chance and critical damage because, I know we certainly found that with the mass augmentation nexus that, we were talking about before that was, the end thing to have, and then everyone realized, well, actually, it's not that good, and we can use other specials that are better. So, I'm still a bit flexible because I'm really only looking at this fleet for the second raid. I'm not busting my hump to try and use this in the upcoming raid. So,
well, I'm hoping that this siege cycle starts out like the skirmish cycle because I think I had 1 or 2 skulled bat rays and the rest were kind of like low ranked. That was the easiest raid for me. So I'm hoping this one will be manageable with the half built fleet, and that's why I dedicated this week 5 days of this week to get my flag going. So once I got my FM tokens, I could use that, and then I got it partially built for VXP. And then because my thinking is the flag adds so much damage, that's essentially 2 eradicators right there on damage, not on defense or armor, but just straight up damage. So if I can get that one good, and then I've already got one with the 6 devastators and 4 specials, and 1 armor. The other ones, like I said, have the other 2 that I got have 4 guns and 4 specials. One of them has an armor and one of them doesn't. So once I can get my flag done, then I can finish the other specials and at least try and get 3 armors on at this point across the board. And I think I can pull it off. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope and pray.
I know the one thing I'm sincerely hoping is like the first raid of the last cycle, when we had some of the old targets out there for people to hit to be able to get raid points. I sincerely hope they do that again this raid cycle. They like for the first raid they'll have some skirmish targets out there for people to hit with their skirmish fleets, because I think this raid upcoming is the least prepared that this community has ever been for a raid.
Be like the lowest rank I've gone in, like, and I took a lot of time off, but this will be like the lowest VXP rank I've gone into a raid in since, like, I don't know, a long damn time ago, 4 years at least.
Yeah, I mean, even people who are normally on top of PvE are not feeling prepared for this raid at all. And that's even from coming to like not like mega whales, but some pretty high coining people that I know are saying they don't feel prepared for this cycle at all.
I'm totally on target for next cycle or the next event. I'm 1 month behind, and I've spent all my tokens on this PvE to move this along. In my opinion, it's the release and the time that they've released the armors and alone is a major issue. So it's not, in my opinion, it's the way they've released things. So I'm really looking at being dedicated and ready to go, feeling, I guess, with a fleet ready to do the next, not this month's event, next month's. And that'll be a first time ever, and that's for sure. And that's really by design, because I've used everything. I've used everything along the way.
Yeah. I know another problem, and you can see I'm circling it with my pointer here on the slide, is build times have crept back up again.
Yeah.
Like that. This is basically, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 3 days longer per hull per ship than what my skirmish fleets were. And 3 days across 5 ships, that adds up to like 15 days. That's almost a whole boat. So I mean, just all these little things add up to make such a terrible difference.
I'm gonna recant what I said, because I've just been sitting there thinking about it. Based on the VXP I got last time, I think I got 4 stars on one ship and like maybe a shield on the the other one. So it's like they're low, dude. They're like low. If I do that again, they're still gonna be freaking low. I'm gonna straight up gonna get my ass kicked. I'm gonna get murdered.
Yeah, well, see, the other part of this too that kind of makes me feel a bit burned is that, I try to make sure that I get as much as I can out of the FM and all that sort of thing. And we've paid 2.5 million points for each one of those limited armors, and then the folded ferrite comes out. So, part of me says, well, why did I even bother doing that?
Wow.
But then the other part of that then is, if you were to use, well, you can't, but if you did some other combination with the armors, say like 2 folded ferrites and 2 of the other older ones, you're going to add even more build time onto it it's only going to get worse. So, actually, you've still got 3,000 tons there, so you'd probably be able to put on.
Dude,
Would you be able to put on another 2? They're like 12.50 a piece or something, aren't they?
With some builds, you are.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're potentially looking at like 18 or 19 days then. So.
Yeah. And I didn't even get the armors from this last FM, and then I had like maybe like 1,700 points, but I was just so, like I said, target fatigued and tired to grind everything that I came home and I was like, well, I can log in and get my prizes, or I can go to sleep right now. I went to sleep.
Well, yeah. That's what it comes down to. It's like, there's only a certain amount of time in any person's week or day that,
It's like, they go to work and they clock in, or some of them are on salary, but they have, their set hours, however much long it is or however short it is. I guarantee you they're forcing us to do more hours than they freaking work sometimes. I'm like, damn, dude. It's like, where do I clock in?
Yeah.
And RB, you went through and dug this up on Discord. It was just kind of the monthly calendar for what's going up. Of course, for FM started yesterday, and then Friday we're having the mini VXP weekend starts, and then next Thursday starts the raid, which is Vengeful Fire. The following Wednesday, of course, is Forsaken Mission Week 1. And then after that, we have regular VXP weekend. Then we have Forsaken Mission Week 2 on the 23rd. The 24th will be Bounty 17. And then the 30th will be Forsaken Mission Week 3.
Yeah, it had been a while since I logged into Discord, and I couldn't be bothered scrolling through all the chat to find out what was going on. So I just started randomly clicking around to see what other stuff I could find, because there's only so much time you can spend looking at all this stuff.
Yeah. And Travis, you had sent me this. This is your poor man's base parts farming fleet, right?
Yeah. So I looked up and done, the Hydra's Hollow with the batteries, which I already had them, but. So this is what I built. I thought, maybe I could build 2 or 3 kind of, skull and bones, if you will, hulls, just partials. But I was like, I got enough tokens to do this, and I think I had 1 or 2 left. So I put this together. Now, when I first built it, I didn't have the launcher system. I had to get that in the I don't know if it was Bounty or something, but I was able to get it that week. And I didn't have my high velocity rounds on. And I tested it out, and everything was just like, it just seemed like it fired like really slow, like the projectile speed needed a boost. So that's why I put the high velocity rounds on, because I was creeping up to the blunderbuss and trying to drive by it, but by the time the second volley went out, that thing fired on me. But with this, I can drive to it, and there's 2 volleys, and it's gone before I get in its range. So I'm just targeting those missiles and trying to stay out of the fire patches from those rockets. And I can do a 68 blitz for map repairs now, driving. So that's a huge step for my game, because I couldn't get base parts at all before.
I believe the repair time was 4 minutes and 34 seconds in the picture you sent me. I didn't include that picture.
What was the build time? Do you remember?
Seems like it was like 16 days, though. 16, 17 days on expert mode. So, I don't know if it shows there, honestly. No.
I guess we could probably look at the original.
But yeah, it was around 17. Because I think there was like 18 tokens altogether.
But of course,
whatever it was, I still have 1. I still have
I
1.
would say, of course, that's expert build, which is only available if you have Shipyard 6.
Exactly. Yes. Which is we've already talked about that. Oh, yeah.
And then here you go. Your great, wonderful skins that everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have just gotten. Travis was nice and got us a picture of them from all angles. So Here they are. That's about all I can say about them. There they are.
They're not
Swamp
bringing
Thing.
sexy back. Sorry, Travis, go for it.
It's the Swamp Thing.
Right.
Yeah. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, normally the art department does a great job on everything. Boy, they let us down this time, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's even got the misshapen jaw too, with the uneven teeth. Sorry.
I'll have to go watch that now.
All right, so that's it for the slides. What else you guys want to talk about? Don't all speak up at once now.
Yeah, no, right?
Well, man, I wish we had more time or some tokens. Which I know the launchers we got probably are going to fail in comparison to the ones that's coming out for the strike. But I just wonder if anybody out there is going to actually try launchers on an Eradicator. I know it's, off the wall and everything's been geared away from that style thing, but at least that way you can get over the mountains and maybe be able to take out a couple of those oddball turrets in those L-shaped mountains where you really got to drive around. But I'm sure it'd be
The
a
launchers,
bad mistake, but I'm sure somebody's going to try it.
the launchers go over the mountains, though.
Yeah, dude.
I
They should do.
I never took any in, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think your range is going to be an issue though, because you're looking at what is it?
Yeah.
It's 88, and then if you put a range extender on, which yeah, I guess you're going to be falling a bit short though, because you should be at 100 with the. I mean, it's not a bad idea, but.
Just because I've seen some people going out, with full fleets of Hydras and the VXP targets, and just, they were taking damage, but they were taking them out. And I was just like, dang, that's. But, you got to think, these are, 55 and 80. So we're going to, raid time, we're going to have probably like 100. So it's going to be like ramped up even more. So,
well, interestingly, because I'm looking at it now, and it's got penetrating range and penetrating accuracy, so maybe you should be better off with missiles instead of launchers. I don't know.
Well, and missiles go over. I tested them, and so do mortars, but I didn't have. I was using DNX, like I prepped it out to where I could kind of test like a certain corner. I tried everything, Of course, my old guns are rusty, so.
I mean, something else you got to stop and think about though too is like we don't know what kind of defenses these turrets have against the damage types that they're not designed for.
Yeah, they could have 100%. So
you put launchers or missiles on, you might not do any damage to these turrets.
That's right. You're just tickling them as you go past.
Or not even scratching. I know my DNX fleet sit there for 14 minutes chunking lead and it didn't do anything.
All right.
Well, I mean,
I think it would, but
yeah. To me, launchers are going to work because you remember how I did that 57 target with my Hydras, and I ran around that thing like a stupid crazy man because I wanted to see the maximum amount of damage that I was going to get by driving around without, a care in the world. And it was quite reasonable. So, I mean, my plan for this raid is to refit my Hydras using my tokens that I've got and use those.
Yeah, I'm sure the launchers will be fine, but I wouldn't put much stock into missiles.
Yeah. It's just strange that I noticed that stat on the blueprint when I was looking at it. Then I'm like, oh, hang on a sec.
All right. I'm just gonna go
Travis is thinking. I can hear it.
I'm just gonna go down the panel. Ross, you got anything else you want to talk about?
No, not too much. I am in a struggling point in the game. I'm glad that they see that the performance is down, so at least they see that. I hope they work on it.
Yeah. RB?
Well, kind of only really what I said, because like I am planning to get my brutal to the whatever rank I've got the normal ones at, rather than going the other way around. So I'm kind of intending on using this VXP weekend for trying to find out a bit more about the targets and you know, just see what my options are and how I can go for it. You know, whether three eradicators and a brutal are going to do it, or you know, that's kind of what I'm trying to take out of this. But I mean, I know it's hard because we don't know that these are the exact targets. So I'm just trying to, I don't know, get a feel for it, because yeah, I just feel so behind on this raid, and it's you know, I'm like, you know, the same thing. You know, I don't generally, I haven't gone in without Skulled Fleets for a long time, and you know, the thing is, there's so many people in this boat now that it's you know, I would hope that they tune the targets.
Well, you know, I mean, the simplest thing would be fix the VXP targets so we don't have to worry about not going in with Skull boots. You know, make it so that the buildings either give us some VXP when we kill them, or add some little pissant fleets in there that we can easily kill that give us some VXP. Do something to make the targets worth hitting. You know.
Well, I was thinking about that because, like, the new team probably have no memory of this. However, there must still be people around that still work there that remember this old siege cycle and know that this was an issue last time. So I just don't understand why they don't look back and talk to each other, and I don't get it, because you know, they were quite happy. Wasn't it an extra building or something that they put in there, and that was what was giving you VXP? It was like some oil rig or something like that. This isn't the first time we've had this issue, so I don't know why we just keep on going over the same things, knowing that the community knows what they know and they all talk to each other, and you know, that we have this knowledge, and it's just like, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre.
It's very interesting sometimes. I know with me talking to Kicks every now and then, I get the sometimes impression that they like are totally oblivious to the fact that all us players talk to each other all the time. You know, and we kind of like can piece together what's going on from all kinds of different things. It just makes me laugh. But
yeah,
anyway.
because there's so many pages, there's so many alliance pages. You know, information gets shared in a heartbeat in this, unless it's some, you know, really, really special way that a particular alliance has found how to do something. It's like the rages and the malices. You know, that didn't take long to just spread like fire through the community. That, you know, it took however many people to think about it or to test it or whatever, and then boom, you know, it's just spread like wildfire. And if you're paying attention to what's going on, you know, you find this stuff out.
Even people that generally don't like each other will share information about this game with one another. It's crazy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's true.
Travis, did you have anything you wanted to finish off with?
Yeah, you know, just thinking back on everybody's builds, we've actually got a pretty well-rounded set of different builds, similar components. So I think we got a good test run to see what's what, you know, because I went with, you know, speed. So you know, my combat speed's 70, and then when you get that boost, it's like cooking. So sometimes that's a little dangerous. So I don't know if that's a good approach for an auto fleet, you know, because with the pathing issues, because it'll be in range of something that's going to kill you so fast, it's not even going to be funny. So, but then with the auto loader, so I got my reload, and then I went ahead and used the welded barrel for the extra percentage. You've kind of went more building damage than us, and didn't you have projectile speed with the strike system?
Yeah, that's where I got my projectile speed from.
So you'll be able to, you know, test that aspect. You
And
know,
I don't have quite as many speed buffs as you guys do, but then again, I also my engine goes faster than what the ones you guys are mostly using anyway in the first place. So
yeah. So
I think we'll definitely have a good variety to compare notes during the raid to see who ends up doing better. I think we'll all do well, but there's always going to be one that does a little bit better than the rest, and it'll be interesting to see where that falls.
Yeah, I agree.
And hopefully the refit's not too long.
Yeah. I mean, my last thing I'm going to say is please, Kicks, try to look at doing something to the VXP targets tomorrow to make them better than what they were before and pay out more VXP and not suiciding fleet 16 times to get skulled rank. Nobody's feeling that, as I'm sure you were able to tell from the last VXP weekend. And please, in the first raid, put some skirmish targets out there for people to get points because there's lots of people who just aren't ready for this raid at all. But until Saturday, that's us. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys in chat. As always, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe. And if you haven't sent your friends to the page yet, shame on you. Do it now. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.
See you, everyone.
have a good one.